Welcome to video 3 of the CAD Apprentice course. In this third video, we're going to look at the reasons why you might choose one bubble wand head design over another and how one gives you more control than the other, and especially when we're thinking about 3D printing the product. Let's take the first example where we drag the tube from the basic shapes into the workplane. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create the head that will be 50 by 50. So I'm going to manually drag the head of the bubble wand until both measurements read 50 by 50. Now I'm going to drag the thickness to be 4 millimeters thick and position the head of the wand at the top of the wand handle. What I'm going to do now is explain why this would be an inefficient way of 3D printing a bubble wand. Consider the thickness of the ring itself. It looks much thicker than the actual thickness of the wand, and it doesn't need to be that thick to be a solid ring if it was made out of plastic. Let's look at a way of creating that head where we're much more in control of the dimensions of the part and save on 3D print material. This time I'm going to bring a cylinder in, drag it to the thickness of 4 millimeters, and manually drag the shape to be 50 by 50. Now I'm going to click on the shape and using Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, make a copy. With this copy, I'm going to make it slightly smaller. In fact, I'm going to make it 4 millimeters smaller on each dimension. So I'm going to drag this one in to be 46 and the other to be 46. I'm now going to drag this shape so it lies completely at the center of the other. I'm going to look from above to view this. This time, although I've taken a basic shape from here rather than the whole shape, I'm going to convert this basic shape into a hole by clicking in the pop-up on the shape that says hole. You'll see that it's gone slightly grey. I'm going to draw over both and then group them. And now you will see that I've created the same as this shape down here, the tube, but now I have much more control over the thickness of the wall. It is now 2 millimeters thick all the way around and 4 millimeters thick at its thickness. This is much more suitable for 3D printing because it uses less material. The example on the left is much more wasteful of material than the example on the right, and I have complete control over the thickness. Let's now delete the automatic shape that I dragged in and now bring in the one that I created myself. Again, I'm looking for that careful interaction between the two parts. But what I've now done is I've created an interaction between two parts where I have complete control of the dimensions. I'm going to group these together. I'm now happy with this bubble wand, but what I'd like to do is add something at the end here as part of the handle, because at the moment it just looks like a cut off piece of plastic. I'm going to look down the basic shapes and see what options I have, and I have quite a few. I could add a ring at the bottom so that I could actually hang it off something. I could add a dome shape and potentially rotate it round to make a half circle. I have lots of options. I quite like the idea of this tube shape. I'm going to bring it in, adjust the thickness down to 4 millimeters, and again look for the interaction between the two parts. I also think because it's the end, it doesn't need to be that big. So I'm going to bring this right down to 10 by 10 and just make sure the two interact correctly. In this instance, I don't really mind that the two interact in this way, because I'm not going to be blowing any air through the hole to create a bubble, but I can adjust it accordingly to make sure it looks right. I now have 3 component basic shapes combined together to make a very clear symmetrical bubble wand. Last time I'm going to group these together. I'm now pretty happy with my final outcome. Now to move on to video 4. Good luck.